I've always looked at my birthday, which lands in mid-August, as kind of the signal for end of summer. It always signaled as a kid, it was always the sign that when my birthday rolled around that we had basically 2 weeks left of summer and then it was back to school. So growing up, I would always think, oh, this means summer's over. It's back to school. You know, when you go back to school, you're in a new grade, new teacher, new group of students you're placed with. So I always looked at it as like kind of the start of a new year. And it's obviously the changing of a season, especially here in Canada. Autumn would come soon after. So um, now in my adult life, I've always used it as kind of the starting point for goal setting. And one goal I've had for a long time now is to become a little bit more public facing in terms of my thoughts and ideas around um, my profession, which is marketing, and greater sense of kind of culture and things I'm interested in, like music, art, media, etc. And it all points to YouTube. And I've had a big interest in YouTube since I saw my first video. I was there, man. I was the OG. Like I was looking at YouTube as a kid. I love to say, like, I grew up on the internet, having a home computer, and then my very first, own PC at the age of 12 was like a pivotal moment and big deal for me. And I remember when it was actually quite difficult to watch videos on the computer, if you can believe it. And YouTube, when it came out, it was like a revelation. I mean, I don't need to tell many people watching this that. Um, but I recall pretty vividly the ability to like watch YouTube videos, and it started with a lot of memes and things, but now to me it's this huge force. And all it really is now is a way for people to primarily just express themselves and document the world around them in all kinds of ways. So my one of my major goals this year is to start a YouTube channel. And I'm hopeful that it will serve as a place that will help me become a better marketer and better express myself. Um, and I'm really looking forward to how this shakes out. There's no real game plan set yet for it, other than I just want to have a place where I can talk about my business, my life, what I'm interested in, and what I'm thinking about in sort of a more unfiltered way. And hopefully build a few connections along the way. There's no monetization. No, I want to make money off this. There's nothing like that. Ideally, I would make better connections for my business via people who like me. But again, I'm not really here to sell a course or, I don't really have an interest in sharing my screen and talking about, ads manager, but like we can go that route. More, I just want to talk about my thoughts and have a place to honestly share them in a way that feels authentic to who I am. And YouTube seems to be a great place to start with that. So why is it I want to start a YouTube channel? I guess it's because I understand the value in publicly declaring who you are on the internet. In other words, building a personal brand. As much as the idea of that makes me just cringe, I understand how important it is. Recently, like last week, there was a big Twitter post from a guy who works at Hype Partners, big Web3 crypto marketing agency. Great, great work over there. And he basically made this like joke around, like it was kind of like a half serious post around, if you aren't if you don't have a personal brand, you can't become the head of social. And I disagreed fundamentally with that, just by volition of working in social media and marketing for over a decade. I've happened to work under some really amazing, accomplished folks who, some of which are just total ghosts online. Like, no LinkedIn, no personal Instagram, no nothing. And these people are head of social for gigantic tech holdcos you know and subscribe to. And that really was a big, profound moment for me in my career. I love marketing, I love social. I've built a career around initially music journalism and being a media person through platforms like Twitter. So, I have a front row seat to having what having a personal brand and what it can do for you. Regularly still, I make business connections on Twitter and LinkedIn, and being on Twitter early, I think I signed up in like 2011 or something, 2010. Um, it was the springboard for a lot of what defined my early career as a journalist, just making friends on the timeline. So it's not that I'm against that idea. It more just upset me for what the underlying thing was saying, in that, like, we have now almost overweighted the importance of personal brand to the point where popularity beats professionalism. In other words, if you are someone who shows up on someone's screen more in certain fields like marketing and advertising, you are a bigger authority. And that opens a whole bunch of issues, right? Like, of course, just because someone's the biggest doesn't mean they're the best. And there are all kinds of people who are totally capable, accomplished, and willing to do great work, who may not have, six-figure followers on TikTok and Instagram and do the green screen yap thing. So I disagreed with kind of the underlying case, but I know ultimately that, building a personal brand or having some type of presence on social media can only benefit you in the long run, especially in kind of an image forward category of business like marketing. Maybe accountant TikTok isn't as like popping, but certainly too, having a personal brand in that field, or finance, or something a little more like, like white collar, less cool. Not that marketing's cool. It's marketing is absolutely uncool. But anyway, um, not that it's less important in those professions. It's just in such an image forward kind of, lots of conversation publicly, professionally occurs online, on social all the time. It only stands to benefit you to like be this person on social, be a recognized voice. So, I've experimented with things like Substack. I love writing. I'm still on Twitter. I'm trying to post on TikTok, but none of it kind of like, scratches that itch a little bit for me the way that I think and I'm hopeful YouTube would. So I'm just starting a channel to kind of have a bit of a free space to open-endedly talk about the things I'm thinking about, what I'm doing with my life, and hopefully something cool will come from it. I plan on documenting a few of my travels. Um, I currently live in Toronto, but split my time between here and Los Angeles, where I'm hopeful to be relocating to by the end of the year, early next year at the absolute latest. Currently in hot pursuit of getting a visa for the United States, as I'm a Canadian citizen. And I'm going back and forth between there regularly to visit my lovely girlfriend. I have clients and potential business connections I'm hoping to increasingly make in the US. I'm off to New York on Thursday, um, to be with a DJ who I work with. And I actually just bought a cottage in Krakow, Poland, with my girlfriend, and I don't anticipate going back there this year, but I would love to talk more about that process too. Currently, also working on my Polish citizenship, as I'm Polish background, and beyond that, I've been self-employed for 3 years now, owning and operating a social media marketing agency, consultancy, freelance shop called Easy Media, or the Eric Zaworski Media Company. And I'd love to discuss a little bit more of the trials and tribulations of entrepreneurship, a decision that I semi-made, after getting laid off at Dapper Labs, which I was at for almost a year, working under the wallet and product team as a community manager and a social marketer. great opportunity where I was the, community voice to the face of engineers and people actually building the products that Dapper Labs powered, which were licensed by things like the NBA and the NFL, the UFC, Disney, all kinds of big IPs, lots of interesting things there. But after getting laid off, which by the way was the second time that ever happened in my career, I, made a big decision to work for myself, and that was 3 years ago. And I downplay it because, like all the people who I follow on Twitter, and and I read the business guys and all the titans of industry and things. I'm small time as shit. No employees, no office. Um, but I've managed to self-sustain myself, have clients all over the world, like in places like, China and the UK and the US and New Zealand and beyond. But I downplay it because I guess I just don't really stop and smell the roses too often, which I definitely should, even though I have, big dreams and goals in my life and career. Um, so I'd love to discuss, my POV on entrepreneurship and hopefully teach someone something, even though I feel like I'm absolutely a student and don't have much to teach at this stage. But 3 years in, definitely have earned my stripes in a few things, despite not quite being at the level of owning multiple Porsches yet, but we're on the way. So yeah, I would love to get into that a little bit more, and hopefully with Instagram, with YouTube, and putting some of this content out more, some cool things happen. So hopefully that's worth it enough for you to make it to the end of this video. If you did, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer and discuss anything that was mentioned. But I will be committing to this and have a bit of a subscriber figure goal that I'm hopeful to hit within 1 year. We'll see. Again, not putting too much pressure into it. No real game plan tied with how I'm going to get there and how I'm going to make this platform work for me. It's more just about like hopefully making some cool connections, learning to be more comfortable with being in front of a camera and talking about myself. And we'll see how it goes. So if you made it to the end of the video, thanks so much. Would love any feedback. I welcome it all. Having worked in social for 10 plus years, nothing anyone says to me online could possibly hurt my feelings. So hopeful that this was at least entertaining enough for you to stick around, and we'll catch you around. Peace.